The PowerPoint is loading. That is quick. And if not, I'm not sure what is going on. So we'll just go ahead. I am Sarah Durant, your Student Success Facilitator, or one of them in the School of Business anyway. There is another one. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about navigating schoolwork. Navigating schoolwork. In a normal world, you would be doing 3 classes in class, in person, at one time in the 717 model, and you'd be doing sometimes 5 or 6 or 7 over 14 weeks in the regular school model. So in the current situation, you're going to be doing most of those, if not all of them, alternative delivery for the fall semester. So we wanted to make sure that everyone kind of felt comfortable, that you had some really good tips to start out the semester with, and that we could support you more proactively than we normally would in a regular semester, but also just to make sure that we connected with you before things started, so that you knew who to contact and you know what we look like and you know that we're friendly people, so that we can kind of get to know you a little bit and hopefully make those connections prior to the semester starting. So today we've already done the introduction of facilitators. We're going to talk about organizational tips. We're going to talk about some time management, studying and what you need to know, work-life balance, a little bit about making the most of your learning, and special tips about online connections and kind of making those things happen. And then we're going to talk about grit. So I am going to figure out how to move the slides over. There we go. So organizational tips for online or alternative learning. We wanted to make sure that everyone feels a little bit more organized than they normally would going into this semester. And the one thing that I will start with is start with your workspace. Figure out where you're going to do your homework, where are you going to log on, where are you going to set your computer. Do you need a notebook or paper beside you? Are you going to take notes online? Like how are those logistics going to happen? Are you going to have a calendar posted, which I will suggest in a minute? We're going to talk about time management. Where can that go? Is your workspace free from distraction? Do you have, is it clean? Is it clutter free? You know, do you have a comfortable chair to sit in that you can sit in for a couple hours at a time if you're doing an online session with a faculty member, or if you're working on your homework? Is all of that happening? Just give me 1 second. And make sure that you're free from distraction. Like, don't set it up right in front of the TV if you can, and if you've got roommates, try and kind of separate yourselves so that you all have time to focus on whatever you're doing that day or for that time period. Another thing is organize your computer files. So normally you might have binders or notebooks, which you might still have, but also organize your computer files. If you're saving a lot more on your computer just because everything's virtual and digital right now, have separate file folders for each of your classes. And make sure that you have them kind of organized in a spot where you can access them easily, where you can save things, where if you need to pull something up quickly to check, you know exactly where they are. Get familiar with Blackboard, MS Teams, SLC.me, and any other software that your faculty or your programs use. It is important to especially know how to use MS Teams, which we're on right now, SLC.me, which is where all the information, your email, your transcript, your fees, all of that is going to be posted and available to you. And using your student email regularly. checking it, I would say, every day or every couple days to make sure that you're getting all of the information that you need from the college about the situation, about anything upcoming, and about anything that you need to know. And then Blackboard is going to be the system where all of your course information is posted. So your outlines, your learning plans, your deadlines, where you're probably going to have to post your assignments when they're finished. Sometimes there's chat functions in there that you're supposed to use, or tests or other assessment tools. So getting familiar with where Blackboard is, where each class is, and all of those different things that that you're going to be using, and where to find things. And you should be able to log in now if hopefully you can. If not, contact IT and you should be able to log in. And in a couple days, even your classes might be loaded. They're working on scheduling right now. So within a few days, you'll start seeing courses populate into Blackboard, and you'll be able to open them up and kind of take a little tour yourself around. Once you get your course outlines and your learning plans, and you know when all your deadlines and your important dates are for each class, I would suggest making a list. Making a list of all of the deadlines and important dates and posting it somewhere so that you can keep track and keep yourself a little organized. And that will help you when you're doing time management and throughout the semester. And then you can also create from the deadlines and important dates list a to-do list. And I would suggest making a daily to-do list and then a weekly to-do list. Your daily are just 5 or 6 things that you have to do that day. Your weekly might be 10 or 11 items that you kind of have to keep on your mind, the upcoming assignments, important dates, different things like that that you might need to do. So I am seeing that people are having audio issues. If you can find the closed captioning, I would suggest trying to put that on so that at least you can maybe read what I'm saying. And if not, you might be able to re-watch this as a recording with the voice. But hopefully you figure that out. So time management tips. So along with organization goes time management. And one of the things is to create a weekly schedule. Oftentimes I'll get the question, what should I put in there? And the first thing you always put in your weekly schedule are your class times. So those times that your classes, are scheduled for you to actually be attending, and any other things that you have, your work schedule, any other priorities that you have that you need to be doing, put those in first. And then you can work study time and homework time around all of the things that you have. I would suggest etching out 1 hour per hour that you're in class. So if you have a 3-hour class, you have 3 hours of study or homework time scheduled for that same class. And that works out to give you lots and lots of time to review your notes, to be studying, to be working on assignments, and sometimes even working ahead if you have a kind of a week where things are a little bit easier. The other thing I wanted to mention was make sure that you schedule some downtime. So even though we know that you guys are busy and that we hope that you're prioritizing school over some stuff, we understand that you also need work-life balance. You need to make sure that you are that you're feeling balanced, that you're not feeling overwhelmed or too stressed, and that you are that you're comfortable with the time that you're spending on everything, because if you spend too much time working and doing schoolwork, you're going to get very tired very quickly, and that is something that we call burnout. And we don't want you to burn out as a student. We really want to make sure that you're kind of keeping that level of wellness and that you're healthy while you're with us, and that you learn those skills for afterwards when you start in the workforce. And then I talked about the to-do list, and make sure you're prioritizing those tasks and check off those things that you've accomplished. I keep a to-do list all the time, and what I find is lots of people do it on the computer, but I find I'm way more effective if I actually write it down and I'm physically crossing things off. For some reason, I find that very satisfying and very motivating. So I actually keep a paper to-do list, but those can be kept electronically as well. You don't have to have a printer. You don't have to write everything down if you don't want to. If you are really good technically or digitally, keeping those things kind of organized and keeping yourself aware of what's upcoming, then I would suggest that. You can do your calendar virtually or on paper, whatever works. When I was a student, I would print off little monthly calendars and weekly calendars so that I could get a handle on what was going on. I am going to just drop in the chat it's a website, and it's the Student Success Facilitator Learning Strategies tip sheets. And in that, you'll see lots of different tip sheets about the things I'm talking about today. But you are also going to see that we do have an actual weekly schedule that you can use. You can print off. You can, I don't think it's fillable, but you could figure out a way to fill it if you have Publisher or something on your computer. And kind of etch out what your schedule is, or you can use it as an example and draw out your own. So studying, everyone studies differently, and in every situation, you might have to kind of tailor your studying depending on whatever course it is. For something like math, you might do more hands-on studying. For something like a history or ethics, you might do some more reading and memorization. So it really does depend on whatever course you're taking or whatever program. But some basic tips that I wanted to share with you is to review your notes. If you can review your notes daily or weekly, that's going to help you study in the long run. And by review, I don't just mean read. I mean go through, make extra notes. Maybe you go through daily and you kind of highlight things that the teacher suggested were really important, or that you recognize from your readings in the books, your textbooks, or your online learning readings or assignments, and you can use those as your study notes later. Consider using different study tools, so things like flashcards, rhymes, memorization aids, summary, so different things like that. And there's lots of different apps and computer programs that you can use to create those on your phone or on your computer, or you can do it the old-fashioned way, cut up a bunch of paper and make some flashcards right there. Lots of students use things like acronyms to try and remember things. They use lots of different kind of tips and tools. And those can also be found, some of those can also be found on the SSF website that I just posted in the chat. And then schedule enough time. So I talked about already having at least 1 hour per hour of class that you have scheduled to do study time. You might find that if you are taking a course that you find that you kind of struggle in a little bit, for me, it was accounting. So if I was taking accounting, I would have to make sure that I was scheduling myself a little bit more time than just 1 hour per hour of class, because I found that I needed to spend a little bit more time reading, a little bit more time practicing, and a little bit more time talking to my peers about what I was learning and how it kind of related to the other things I had learned or the things that I thought might be on the tests. So make sure that you're kind of aware of kind of where you need to study a little bit more, and there might be things that you need to study a little bit less, and focus your time on those. And then don't be fooled by open book tests. So a lot of times we have students who think, oh, this is an open book test, I don't need to study at all. Where in fact, they're usually still timed. You still have to produce a certain level of information and a quality of work. So having studied, knowing where things are in your textbook and in your notes, having an organized situation where you can look for things and find them quite easily is helpful, and that comes from studying, and that helps you produce that quality of work that we're expecting at the college, but also that will give you the grade that you're hoping for and that you've studied for. Work-life balance is something I've mentioned just briefly, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that it is a priority at the college. That we are hoping that you're eating healthy, that you're exercising, that you're getting enough sleep. Take care of yourself. Lots of self-care is important, especially I think right now when we're kind of going through a unprecedented time and people are a little bit more stressed, they're a little bit more overwhelmed than they might normally be. So we want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Some people find it helpful to write journals or learn to say no to things. So if people are asking you lots of questions or for lots of help, or to kind of your family's pulling you in one direction, your friends are pulling you in another direction, then you're also trying to focus on school. It's important to learn to say no to certain things and be able to really focus on whatever your goals are. Make sure you are spending that time with your family and friends, but that you're not going a little overboard, but that you still are able to make those connections and make time for yourself and set boundaries and, make sure you take a break when you're doing your schoolwork. We're definitely not expecting you to sit at your computer for 8 or 12 hours a day without a break. Your eyes will feel terrible, your head will feel terrible, your emotions will feel terrible, you'll feel tired, and we definitely don't want that. Make sure you are taking breaks. And Amanda, I think this is you.
Yes. I've spoke a little bit about this in the other workshops we held this summer, but I think it's a real balance in terms of talking about navigating schoolwork. And so making the most of your learning is not just about in class or this alternative delivery in terms of your online learning. There's still many ways to connect with your classmates, peers, as well as your faculty. And that will really give you a one-up in terms of your experience with St. Lawrence College, as well as how well you do. We know from past that students who are engaged, and even just attending this workshop today or other ones this summer, all the students who've come to our drop-in sessions or been emailing and connecting with us with the questions that they have, will just do that much better when they get to the actual subject matter, because you already feel that little bit of sense of belonging. You've made a connection with somebody, and it doesn't necessarily have to be your specific teacher. We have Michelle on the call today, and so Michelle is working as a student engagement assistant. She's second year marketing. She's a great resource for you, and she's available to you. So that could be the one person that you start to connect with, who can then potentially refer you to get in contact with other people. Getting involved is a little bit different this year because, as you know, we are mostly online, but that doesn't mean there isn't opportunities. And it kind of goes with the fourth point of being open and saying yes. A lot of first year students wait. They get it in their head that it's their first year at college, first year in post-secondary, that this is going to be a lot, that they need to wait so that they can balance everything. And it's detrimental to your own experience. And all it does is put you back. I would say 90% of students who wait to get involved regret it. Your time at St. Lawrence College is going to go by very, very quick. Whether you're in the 1-year certificate, the 2 or 3 year diploma, maybe you're thinking about staying and doing the degree, which is another, 3 semesters. It goes by very, very fast. And a lot of students regret that they didn't get involved earlier. Getting involved is most likely one of the things you're really, really going to remember. It's going to create your experience. And getting involved really complements your diploma. So everyone's going to get a diploma. All these people who are on the call today, plus all the others who aren't, are going to do the best they can. They're going to get a piece of paper that says they have the diploma, the degree, whatever it looks like, and you're all going to go out and look for jobs. But what's going to give you the competitive edge is your experience and skills. So in addition to that, you want to get yourself involved. So I'm saying be open, say yes, don't turn it down, don't get in your head. There is room for you to get involved, and I'll be helping you through that process. You don't necessarily have to look for all these opportunities. I will be providing them to you. Sometimes it's as simple as, helping out with another event, and it could be just working at the front desk or taking in registrations. Now, alternative delivery looks a little different, but it could be doing similar to what Michelle's doing today, where she's on the call today. She said hello and she's welcoming everybody and she's answering your questions in the chat. It could be just as simple as that, but it gets you involved, it gets you doing something, and it helps you figure out who you are and what you like to do. So that leads into my next point about exploring subjects. We have 23 different programs in the School of Business. I really like to help students confirm the choice, what you've made. Some of you will stay with the program that you're starting in 2 weeks. Many of you will wonder if it's the right one for you, and it will take a little bit of time, but it very much will be. And then there'll be others who are just totally unsure. Maybe you're in business by default. Maybe your parent, a counselor, has suggested this program for you. Possibly you have really great skills in math and you think accounting is what you should be doing. And so you're going to explore this and you're going to figure it all out. The program looks very different to everybody, but be open to trying new things. When you get chances to choose electives, choose something that's interesting to you, that you have, maybe you don't know a lot about that subject matter. There's ways to take our courses and really make them unique for you, especially with all the things going on in the world right now. We are always looking to keep our subject matter current and keeping up with the trends and what's happening. And so for you, it's really good to be privy to that and be trying things so that you can align with that as well. So when you go to be looking for jobs, you have an edge. So with those 4 things, I believe that you really can up your experience here at St. Lawrence College in the School of Business. If you're unsure of how to do those things, you need to reach out. So go back to that, making the first step, connecting with your peers and faculty. Sitting behind a screen, like Sarah had mentioned, hours and hours a day is not our goal. We want you to be interacting. I have experienced this summer a lot of engagement from you. I'm very impressed, and I have actually been speaking with my boss and other faculty about these workshops online, how many people are logging on at different times of the day. And I think you need to be proud of yourself for taking that step, because it is optional. You don't have to be here right now. You could even wait for the recording, but it's a different experience with the recording versus being right now and being able to see the person and, put your questions in the chat or comment. It's different. And so I really do want to congratulate you for taking these small steps. It will make a world of difference. And I hope that you kind of put them in your toolkit and keep building on them so that you can make the most of your learning. And please, reach out if you're unsure of how to do that, or things aren't working out, or you're confused. Give it time, be open, say yes to things, try things. This is a great, great safe spot to fail, and you'll never have a more supportive environment. Back to you, Sarah.
Okay. I forgot to mention, if you hear a barking in the background, it's because my dog is very angry at me that I put him away for this time. But if I didn't, he would just be barking right into the microphone, and you would hear me even less than you have been. So that wouldn't be good. And as Amanda was saying, and I saw Michelle put in the chat that taking breaks is really important. I did forget to mention that if you are not taking regular, if you're not able to actually take regular breaks, let's say you're in a class and it's kind of going a little bit longer, even just looking away from your computer screen for 20 seconds every 20 minutes can be such a great help to keep your eyes from being fatigued, keep you from getting that headache that some people are getting from just staring at a screen all day. And you're supposed to look at something about 20 feet away from you. You don't have to measure it out, kind of just look at something that's not right in front of you. Look out the window, look across the room, and then that way you can you can kind of see, keep your eyes safe and kind of keep yourself from getting that fatigue that so many people are getting in this virtual world we're in right now. One of the last things we're going to talk to you about is grit. So a lot of people aren't really aware of what grit is. It's a little bit of a new concept. It's been around for a few years, or it's been popular for a few years. And we have found that it is something that's really important for our students, and that it really does help them be successful when they can improve their grit or their grit strategies. So what is grit? Grit is that passion, the determination, the resilience. So when you see a challenge, or when you have a challenge, you meet it head on with some perseverance. And what that means is, if you find that you have a challenging class, you're trying to figure out ways that you can make the most of it and be successful. If you get a failed assignment back, you don't just kind of quit the class, or you don't just stop doing all of the work because you're like, oh, I failed. You try and do better. You talk to me, you find a peer tutor, you find ways to make it better for you. If you fail a class, you say, you know what, I'm going to go and talk to someone about this, and I'm going to do better next time. That's what grit is. And students with grit are more likely to meet their educational and their career goals with ease. And only because they can recognize when things are challenging for them. They self-reflect a lot. And that they are aware of when they need to ask for help, when they need to spend a little bit more time studying on something, or when they need to have some resources available to them to make things a little bit easier. How can you improve your grit? So that might be a question for you. I also forgot to mention, you might hear my daughter giggling in the background. But anyway, that's just how things go now. So how can you improve your grit? You might develop a growth mindset. So that is that mindset where you're continually growing, that you're never perfect, and that you're always learning and you're always trying to do better. And having that mindset and knowing that it's okay if you fail, that you're going to learn from it rather than change course. And even if you change course, that you're still taking something from that experience of a failure or something doesn't go perfectly. That's okay. You can consider multiple viewpoints and reframe your problem. Just give me a second. Sorry about that. You can consider multiple viewpoints and then reframe the problem. Maybe whatever you're experiencing is telling you something. So maybe if you're constantly not doing well in accounting, but you're exploring all of your options and you're seeing that, oh, I really actually like something like human resources, or I really like marketing. Maybe that failure is telling you, oh, I need to change what I'm doing. Or maybe it's telling you that you need to spend more time on your accounting homework. Or maybe it's telling you that you need to, take a step back from things and take a moment to reflect and try and figure out what's going on. Try new ideas and solutions. So if you're struggling in a class and you're finding challenges, don't just keep doing the same thing that you're doing and it's not working. Try and figure out different solutions. So maybe it's talking to someone like me about organization or time management. Maybe it's talking to a peer tutor about the content and trying to figure out how better to do whatever you're doing in class. Maybe it's going to the Math and Writing Center or the Academic Support Center and getting help with your writing or your other academic skills like that. And finding those resources and trying those different things is really important. And then evaluate and reassess. So after that reflection piece is really important. How did that go? Are there things that you learned from it, and what can you take forward within your program? A lot of students I see, they don't just have trouble with academics, or not all of them have trouble with academics. Some of them have trouble with communicating within the college, or communicating within their class. They're shy, or they're not really confident, and picking up those pieces and those skills in class, and learning from experiences where, maybe they said something they didn't really mean, or they didn't ask a question when they didn't understand, and then it ended up not being a good situation. They learned from those experiences and have improved their next class because of it. So it's not just about academics, it's about that whole experience in the college and in your life, kind of moving forward and reflecting each semester about how that went and what you can take forward. So Amanda always tries to put who to contact in each of our slides. I don't know, Amanda, if you'd like to present this piece.
Sure. This is just a reminder for everybody. Our office gets really, really busy at this time of year. And so depending on what program you're in, you will have a different contact. So this screen is here for you just in terms of if you do have to speak with somebody, please try your best to email the person that would be responsible for that. You can always reach out to your coordinators. You can check in with myself or Michelle. We're really happy to help you navigate this. We also sent out by email yesterday a student guide for fall 2020, and it has all this information in it, as well as a number of other things around fees and program coordinators, specifically who they are, how to contact them. And that's probably a really great spot to start. And if you don't find the information there, you can then reach out to one of us, and we're certainly happy to help you navigate who it is that you need to connect with. As the semester goes on, another piece of advice for first-year students is don't wait to ask for help. A lot of students wait till there's a problem, and then it's sometimes too late. It's hard to work backwards from that. We can't really help you if you're failing a course and it's the last week and you have the last exam. If you're feeling, things are happening, you're struggling, reach out ahead of time. Be proactive, advocate for yourself, and be responsible for what's going on in your semester. Is there any questions? I've seen nothing more in the chat. I'm just going to stick up a couple of dates here. So orientation will be happening. So there's modules available to all of you on Blackboard. I highly suggest completing these between now and September 8th. If you do, you can enter in to win a gift card. September 8th is the orientation. Most sessions will be at 10 a.m. There's a link to be sent to you by email to join a Teams meeting with your program coordinator or another faculty. A few of the orientation sessions are happening at different times. The majority are 10 a.m., but I know, for example, healthcare administration will be at 7:30 a.m. Eastern to accommodate some of the various time zones. First day of classes is September 9th. That is when everything will be starting. There's lots of questions about textbooks. We've had that a number of times. You will need to wait specifically to hear from your faculty in terms of what to buy, whether it's the ebook or ordering books from our bookstore. So please just hang tight on that. You won't have access to your Blackboard courses until September 8th/September 9th. So don't be worrying if you don't have that access. And timetables are slowly coming available and should be within the next couple of days. So I just answered that about class schedules. So some people will have them. Don't worry if your friend does and you don't. It's just how we're uploading to PeopleSoft, and hopefully within the next day or so you will have access to your class schedules. Remember that some of them will be where you do join something online that's live, and a lot of it will be that you are managing your schedule in terms of due dates, assignments, and the coursework. It'll be available through slc.me.
So before we finish, I just want to echo what Amanda had said about asking for help, especially in this online alternative delivery that we're doing. Sometimes it's really hard for us to identify students who are struggling because we're not seeing you. Sometimes we ask you to put your camera off so that we can have connectivity issues, and having that disconnection of not seeing you on campus and not being able to track really well how often we're seeing you on campus can make it a little bit difficult for us to see how much you're struggling or to see that you are struggling. So it's even more important now than it ever has been to reach out to people, ask for help. And even if you reach out to the wrong person, that's okay. If you reach out to the office and say, I'm just looking for some help about this, they will direct you. If you reach out to Amanda or myself or Michelle, and you ask us, where you should go to get that help, then we won't say, oh, you've reached the wrong person, we're not going to help you. We're going to say, oh, don't worry, we'll send you to the right person. We'll make sure you get connected. So please do ask for help and ask for it early. I think I saw Michelle say that 7 weeks goes fast, and whether you're in a 7-week course or a 14-week course, things can just kind of keep going and keep rolling. And if you don't ask for help when you need it, things can get out of control really quickly. So you want to make sure as soon as you notice that you're having a challenge or that you need some help, that you're asking for it. I just saw in the chat that about online tutoring options, and I'm just going to answer that. So there is online tutoring available at the college. It's called peer tutoring. And if that's something that you feel like you need or that would be helpful, you can definitely access it. I would encourage you to go to your first class prior to asking for a tutor, just because you want to make sure that that you kind of understand how the class is going to go, what the kind of supports in class are going to be before you start accessing that. But after that first class happens, you can sign up immediately for a tutor. And if you can find it on our website, or you can just ask any one of us, Amanda, myself, or Michelle, and we can get you the link to sign up for a tutor, or your teacher might even give it to you, knowing that if you're in a class that students often ask for tutors, they might even have it readily available for you.
I just wanted to also include the app. So you are SLC. I'll have Michelle just put that in the chat for everybody. It's a really great way to start connecting with your peers. So again, going back to making the most of your learning, check it out if you haven't already. Events such as this one this morning are listed there. There's even a buy and sell, housing, lots of different groups for first-year students, and it's a great way to kind of connect with one another. So if you haven't had a chance, there are a few things, a little bit of homework between now and when classes start, to make sure you're logging on to your slc.me email, Blackboard, the URSLC app, and familiarizing yourself with MS Teams as we are today. That wraps up what we have to present for you this morning. Thank you so much, Sarah, for facilitating, and Michelle for being the chat moderator. We will stay around for a few minutes. We're going to stop the recording here, but please feel free, if you have any questions, to let us know in the chat or jump on camera now, and we'd be happy to answer them. If not, really appreciate everyone showing up today. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thank you. Welcome.